step forward. And a step back.
Will you,
And then we're cha-chaing.
will you stop it? I'm serious.
Okay, I'm serious too.
Next up, it's a moral imperative that you pick up Real Genius in 4K.
And since Matt stole my joke, give this video a like, leave us some comments. We love talking movies and we love talking to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Real Genius. So Real Genius coming out on September 13th on 4K. And what's, in my opinion, a very shocking move to put out in 4K. I was literally like blown away when I saw this announcement. Like, this is a personal 80s favorite of mine. It came out in 1985. So I was 3 years old when it came out. So I have no idea when I saw this for the first time. Directed by Martha Coolidge. She had done Valley Girl, and then she did this. And this was also produced by Brian Grazer, which I did not know. And this was only the third movie he was ever involved in. And he's done like a ton of movies. Val Kilmer, Gabe Jarrett, Michelle Mayrink.
If there literally was a boy next door, it would be this kid.
Yeah.
And so you feel for him. It's very effective.
Wow.
And he was like kind of like a nobody. You know, he was kind
Still
of,
is. I don't know his name at all.
Right, Gabe Jarrett.
I am Gabriel Jarrett.
He is so empathetic.
Yeah.
So when Val Kilmer or William Atherton are both over the top sarcastic and
Yeah.
all that, it lands better because
You feel
he's
bad.
so wholesome.
And just to set this up in case anyone hasn't seen this movie, it's basically Val Kilmer and this guy that we were just talking about, Gabe Jarrett, who are geniuses in a engineering school, and they're working on some laser as part of like a class project, but unbeknownst to them, the like head of the school, which is played by none other than William No Dick Atherton,
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
who is playing one of his greatest 3 asshole roles.
I'm sure about that.
He's like has ties with the military, and secretly he's going to take this laser and sell it to them once it's been completed. This movie didn't really set anything on fire. I mean, critics loved it, but it didn't really do anything like huge. But I
have a
feel like
theory.
people love it now. There's like a fondness for it, you know?
One of my favorite parts in this movie, and it's so minor, dude. It's William Atherton and Kilmer, and he's telling him to come in. He's like, "Yeah, the car, take your shoes off," you know. And Kilmer walks in on the carpet, sits down, then takes his shoes off. It's like little things like that in this
Yeah.
movie. They're all over the place that you kind of pick up on repeated viewings.
Yeah.
And I don't think most 80s comedies that were this style were more bombastic.
Yeah.
This is a little bit more, like I said, subdued. And not that it goes over your head the first time, but it's not like sensational. It's clever.
Well, that's where you're right.
You know, this is very much so a college movie, but it is smart with like a nerdy slant. And like you said, it's wholesome because there's not profanity. It's a little bit more wholesome. And the jokes, like you said, some are in your face funny and you get it right away. Some are like, it's like a little bit more of like, there's more
Nuanced.
depth. Yeah, there's more depth.
And to your point, I never even thought about that. I have never heard Real Genius referred to as a college comedy.
And it is, and that's why I also think that the pranks really land too, because this movie is so much about pranks. There's so many pranking things that go on, but it's all done
Innocent.
not with potty humor, but with their way of how they would do it because they're smart, because they're geniuses. The term real genius kind of comes from a slang term in these sort of engineering kind of schools where it's like, we're genius at fucking with you. Like, we're going to, you know, make this whole place turn into ice and no one's going to know how we did it. Or we're going to put your car in your room and you're not going to know how we did it. Even the last ultimate prank, which I won't spoil, in case you haven't seen this movie, there is an ultimate prank that gets pulled that is their ultimate revenge once they sort of find out that they've been played. And again, that's a very smart thing that goes on. It's like they're using their mental power to get even.
The amount of popcorn was 140 tons of popcorn. Cost of the popcorn, God, I don't know, I think it was $100,000 worth of popcorn, but that's nothing. The entire gag, if you put all the special effects together of what we did with it, cost about $1 million.
This is a movie too for me where over time it just became my go-to. It just became something that, like, if I wanted to put something on in the background that was light, made me happy, felt good, this would just go on. The other thing that makes it great, like you said before, is the cast. And everybody works. Like, Val Kilmer works, Gabe Jarrett, the guy that plays Mitch, he works. Michelle Mayrink, the girlfriend. Kent, Like he's obnoxious.
The adversary. And
Yeah,
that's how
right, the
innocent and
adversary.
sweet this movie is.
Yes.
We can't even call him a bully. We can't even say
Yeah.
the bad guy. Because he's kind of nice
Yeah,
too.
he's got a little bit of an arc, you know, like he does. Dude, John Grease, who played like Wolfman, he had Nards like right around this time, and then went on and did Napoleon Dynamite.
That one. You know what's funny? Like I said, we're talking about the chemistry and the performances, how strong they are.
Yeah.
Everyone else feels like a real person. He feels like a gag to me.
You think he feels like a gag? I don't know. I think
The way he's playing it. He
the way
looks
he's
like a
playing
guy acting. Everyone else feels pretty natural to me. But he doesn't ruin it. I'm not saying that. I just would stop you on him when we're going to the...
You can't stop
Everyone
me.
is perfect.
you can't stop me on that. And then William Atherton. What's he like, Russ? You've met him.
He's really nice, but come on. I grew up watching him as an asshole, and everything he says just sounds... He could say good morning when I met him, and it would be like, you dick.
The one thing that I think is also kind of special with this movie, and they do a really great job illustrating everybody on this cover, I feel like for this reason, is this movie starts off being like the Val Kilmer show with his comedy, and it's this it's Mitch character who's his roommate. They're kind of like the team. But by the end of the movie, literally everybody on this cover is like a part of the movie, the ending, like the conclusion. And I really like that they kind of become like an ensemble group by the time it's over. It gives it a little bit more depth and weight. I really like that.
Okay.
When I think Val Kilmer, to me, I go back to this movie all the time. Like, this is the movie I think of. People might think, you know, maybe Willow, Mad Mardigan, or even Iceman, or even...
For me, well, see, The Doors was one of my favorite bands as a kid.
There's a lot of iconic performances.
What I said about
in there.
Malcolm X is kind of similar about
Doors.
Val Kilmer.
You think about
Sometimes
him.
when I think of Jim Morrison, I think of Val Kilmer.
That's great.
The other component to this movie, for anyone that likes 80s and some of the synth pop sort of soundtracks that sort of go with them, this one's got an impeccable one. It's one of those that maybe it's just me because I've watched this movie 1,000 times, but it's got artists on it that you will have no idea what their name is. You will never know what else they've done. They might have only done this song, but it just slaps. I mean, Chaz Jankel. Like, who the fuck is Chaz Jankel?
You don't know Chaz Jankel?
But he's got one of the hottest hits on this.
Of the 80s.
Do you really know Chaz Jankel?
That would be nice.
Comsat Angels. I mean, there's people on here that I have no idea who they are, but the music works. The score, there's like some synth pop sort of just score without music on it. Good. It just ties the whole package together, I feel like, with the quirkiness of it, the comedy, and it just got a nice little, it keeps it, I don't know, keeps it fresh, keeps it interesting.
This guy doesn't know who Gary Jankel is.
No.
This film was always offbeat.
It is, dude.
It was just
You're
always
absolutely right. It is offbeat.
But that's why it's special.
So after this, Martha Coolidge did nothing. Val Kilmer, I feel like, honestly, was the only one that really went on to do anything big after this movie at all. This movie itself, I'm super excited to pick up. It's got a new 4K restoration from the original camera negative, Dolby Vision, and Atmos sound. It's like they gave it everything. And it was all approved by Martha Coolidge. She came back to do it. Deleted scenes, a raw take montage, a commentary, and the television version of the film, which none of this stuff has ever been available before. On the DVD I've owned, on the Blu-ray I've owned, there's literally been nothing.
Oh, I remember when I saw this announced, I was like, you must be excited.
Dude.
Because who thought this was coming?
That's what I'm telling you. It's shocking.
And I know how big of a fan you are. I have a question for you then, because you clearly love this movie.
I love this movie.
And you referenced it as your favorite, your go-to 80s. This versus Just One of the Guys.
Oh, wow.
See, for me, Just One of the Guys is like everything you just said about this.
Russ, we'll talk about Just One of the Guys for another hour. I mean, yeah, it's I don't know. It's like neck and neck in a way, because everything I said about this movie in a lot of ways is the same thing.
I know,
Just One of the Guys.
and that's what I was thinking when you were saying it. I was like, we both love Just One of the Guys. What does this compare to with that? And where is our 4K of Just One of the Guys?
Bring it. Same thing. Soundtrack. I mean, this is a real genius video. Awesome movie. Awesome cast. Awesome story. Very unique. Like we said, wholesome, fun. Great conclusion. Wraps up well. Everybody Wants to Rule the World. The song was catapulted by this movie. If you even like that song by Tears for Fears, this movie put it on the map. This movie did, Russ. If there's any fans of this out there, you're obviously picking this up. If you did never see this, I hope that you take this recommendation into account.
It's a moral imperative.